I have a lot of things from Naruto that I consider my favorite aspect. From the characters to the soul to the techniques, there's so much I love. But among my favorite things to ponder, besides Dojutsu and Senjutsu, there's Kekkei Genkai, a genetic advantage some shinobi possess which allow them to utilize various ninjutsu forms that others can't. And among the many techniques that can be used by Kekkei Genkai owners, the crown jewel has got to be wood release. It's by far the most powerful ninjutsu style to ever exist. But what it is, and who its user, Hashirama Senju, is, remains to us a true mystery. Or is it? What he and his ninjutsu truly is could have been hiding under our noses the entire time. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Hashirama Senju doesn't appear to be anything special. His background is that he was, like so many others, born during the Warring States period. During this time, he was just a kid, much like Madara, who fought for his clan, watched people he loved die, and eventually took on the role of patriarch of the Senju clan. From this position, he not only crushed his opposition with superior power and strategy, but he also opened his heart, destroying not only their ability to fight, but their reason to fight. Hashirama Senju was just the Chad of all shinobi, and it seemed that everything he did, he was protected by plot, as if he were the main character or something. But the thing about that is that he technically was. But from the conception of his character and strange abilities, all the way to the end of the series, we can't help but wonder what the heck was Hashirama Senju. Hashirama Senju's mere existence alters the Naruto story as much as anything else. As much as the Nine Tails itself, perhaps more. He not only had the single greatest nature transformation to ever grace our screens, but also possessed otherworldly regeneration. When I say this guy has starfish level regeneration, I'm not kidding. Madara Uchiha literally chopped off a piece of Hashirama Senju, and not only did Hashirama Senju grow back that piece, the piece that Madara took grew back a new Hashirama. Madara managed to grow a living clone body out of Hashirama Senju's cells. Man, I bet Emperor Palpatine wished he could get a hold of this guy. These are all things that we know about Hashirama, but the thing that drives me up the wall is that we don't even know why he's like this. What caused Hashirama Senju to just grow back entire bodies? What caused him to awaken the wood-release Kekkei Genkai, and why is he pretty much the only one who can use it? What even is that Sage Mode? Doesn't look like Snake, doesn't look like Toad. Is it just human Sage Mode? There's so much about Hashirama that hides behind that dorky nature and winning smile. It drives me nuts. None of these things were ever answered. He became the walking embodiment of a plot device without any explanation whatsoever. Except we probably already had an explanation. You see, there's a type of thing that happens in anime series, and as an avid debater myself among the various forums, I have this thing I called walk like a duck logic. It's not really strong proof for a debate, but it's all based purely on logic and helps to explain the things that the series, I believe, wants us to guess at. They don't always spoon-feed you information. Sometimes the fun is in discovering it yourself and leaving something unanswered, so it keeps people interested. Trunks' Super Saiyan Rage form? Oh, that's Super Saiyan Grade 3 that was mastered. Why? Well, we see him using Grade 3 earlier in the Goku Black arc, and after the initial transformation into Rage, every time he uses it he transforms into Grade 3 before shrinking back into Super Saiyan Rage. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck, must be a duck. Now, returning to our original question about Hashirama Senju, I've thrown this guy into the walk like a duck logic washing machine to find out what he is. And as it turns out, it might have always been sitting right here in front of us. Hashirama Senju possesses wood release. For us to understand why this is, we need to take a look at all of the other users of it. Most other users of wood release actually achieved it by using Hashirama's cells, which itself is a mind-blowing thing for Hashirama, but due to this, we're counting them out. The only things ever shown to use wood release that isn't connected to Hashirama Senju himself would be Moegi, and how this is possible, I'm not sure, though I do have theories. And the Ten Tails. And when I say Ten Tails, I'm also considering the various Biju like Jura, Matsuri, Hidari, etc. They're the only ones who can do it naturally. Now, why Moegi possesses any semblance of this, I do not know. Her lineage could tie into the Senju. Maybe she's distantly related to Hashirama. Maybe she's Yamato's illegitimate daughter. I have no freaking clue. But she has it, and whatever answer we can get for Hashirama, we can likely get for her as well. Or something close. Now, while Moegi doesn't stand out, you know what does? The Ten Tails. It's no secret that Wood Release is specifically designed to be a counter to all of the tailed beasts. Hashirama could use it to capture them all. Why is that? Well, maybe it has to do with the same reason why these two things coincide. The vanishing point for both of these concepts, where they merge together into one, is the Ten Tails. The Ten Tails both contains all of the other 9 beasts, or better should I say, the other 9 beasts are derived from the Ten Tails, as well as also containing Wood Release. A lot of people insinuate that it all has to do with Hashirama's cells. But I'll be honest with you, friend. How are you expecting the Ten Tails, whose greatest technique is God, nativity of a world of trees, a direct callback to Hashirama's technique, Wood Release secret technique, nativity of a world of trees, doesn't use Wood Release? It's literally made of wood. It's Bijou, who, though have been stated to have been experimented on, were never stated, to my knowledge, anywhere to possess Hashirama Senju cells. The connection here is the Ten Tails. The very fact that Wood Release is so effective on tailed beasts above all else is because the Ten Tails is the tailed beasts, and using it to command the tailed beasts is probably no different from Naruto telling his shadow clones what to do. But what else do we have to explain? Well, we have Hashirama Senju's regeneration. There are very few things that can match Hashirama Senju's own regeneration. The greatest healing technique ever made, Creation Rebirth, allows Tsunade to regenerate from such catastrophic damage that it would kill literally anyone else. But even when Madara faced this in battle, he passed it off as a pale imitation of Hashirama Senju's regeneration. Hashirama Senju's regeneration is completely and utterly unmatched by anyone or anything at all, save for one creature, a tailed beast, particularly Ten Tails Jinchuriki. One case that comes to mind is when Might Guy utilizes his Night Guy technique against Madara Uchiha. Madara is struck with the full force of a technique he hails as greater than all others. After being struck, he's left with almost all of his body gone, but then he immediately regenerates. This is the level of regeneration Hashirama Senju displays. I think the cards were always stacked against Madara during his fight with Hashirama. Even if he had struck the old boy, cut him in half, stabbed him, or diced him up, Hashirama would have still survived, and at worst would have become multiple Hashirama to fight. How in the world Hashirama died, I'll never know, but whatever it was, it had to be stronger than Madara. For all we know, it was that chakra disease Naruto and Hagoromo contracted. It ought to have been because Hashirama was likely strong enough to contract it. But that being said, it was never known, though one other theory does present itself. I'll mention that later though. Hashirama's regenerative capabilities were so strong that he could match Ten Tails Jinchuriki Madara. Now we move on to the third thing, Hashirama's unique Sage Mode. Throughout Naruto, we've seen plenty of people use Sage Mode, and while no two are exactly the same unless you're Naruto and Minato, they do have particular calling cards. For Toad Sage users, they gain the Toad Eyes. For Snake Sage Mode users, they gain scaly bodies and seem to utilize a Sage transformation as opposed to an actual Sage Mode. This could be due to Jugo's cells, which seem to be the basis for pretty much every Senjutsu form that Orochimaru used. Regardless, Snake Sage Mode at least gives access to some form of snake motif, be it an actual snake, snake-based techniques, or snakes made of chakra, so we can rule that out. The only other option is Slug Sage Mode, and considering that we don't actually know what that looks like, and the fact that Tsunade is Hashirama's granddaughter and trained there, one could assume. In fact, Slug Sage Mode could explain a lot. The regeneration. Slugs seem to be medical ninjutsu users. Sage Mode, we've never seen their usage of it. Their home, they live in a large forest of huge trees. All of these somehow ring true to Hashirama Senju, but the biggest issue here is that none of them seem to display Wood Release, or have any connection or proven feats in pacifying tailed beasts. There's no proof that they can do that, at all. It's so loose that, while plausible, seems less likely. It would be like saying that because Rock Lee has super round eyes, speaks every syllable in a way that could be assumed to be a Japanese interpretation of an English speaker, that Lee is somehow American. And, you know, for all I know, he is. But it just isn't substantiated because there's no other nations in Naruto displayed to be like him. He's not stated to be from any other village. I'm getting off topic, but you see my point. What I'm getting at is that Hashirama has no known connection to any known form of Sage Mode. However, there is another form of Sage Mode, Six-Path Sage Mode. Toneri Otsutsuki seemed to display a form of Sage Mode that came from his eyes, which appeared to be derived from Six Paths Chakra. Hagoromo Otsutsuki and everyone who absorbs the Ten Tails gains some form of Sage Mode that is not connected to any other known form. The Ten Tails itself possesses its own specific form of Ten Tails, one not connected to any animal type. just something they learn. Now, according to walk like a duck logic, given how closely related Hashirama Senju and his power set is to the Ten Tails, one could make the logical assumption that he is himself the Ten Tails, or somehow connected to it. But how so? How is Hashirama Senju connected to the Ten Tails if he was born a regular person? And honestly, that's up in the air. The only thing I can think of is that he has a form of six-path sage mode based upon the lineage of his body and the lineage of his chakra. Despite it being non-canon filler, during the arc where we saw Ashura face Indra in battle for the future of Ninshu, Ashura made use of wood release. But even if we go mainly from the manga and no filler, this could still be the answer, as even though we can't confirm if Ashura had wood release canonically, we can prove that his father and grandmother possessed wood release, and half of that power was generated into Ashura and Indra. The thing about Six Paths chakra is that it's not just chakra generated by the chakra fruit. It's the exact same chakra as the Ten Tails, and the Ten Tails has access to all chakra types. All Kekkei Genkai to some degree link back to the Ten Tails, to Hashirama, and to Kaguya, as even Kimimara's technique is considered a derivative of Kaguya's all-killing ash bones. All techniques come from the Ten Tails and Six Paths chakra. Half of that chakra was divided up between Indra and Ashura. Indra possessed the visual techniques of his father as well as the ability to awaken the Rinnegan, and Ashura took on the spirit, or in some cases, the chakra of his father. This is passed down directly through bloodline as well as through inherited spirit, as Hashirama inherited the chakra of Ashura, and Naruto inherited it from Hashirama. Every few generations or so, someone inherits that chakra. Hashirama's powers and abilities seem to stem directly from the Sage of Six Paths himself. Hashirama Senju, on a genetic and spiritual level, is the perfect storm to basically generate a pseudo-Ten Tails. Moegi also possesses some wood release, and maybe that's due to her being distantly related to Hashirama, or herself possessing the perfect storm of genetics that allow her to utilize it. But unlike Hashirama, she does not possess that same belief. It's my belief that Hashirama Senju, on a genetic and spiritual level, has inherited basically the Ten Tails, or a portion of it from Ashura and the Sage himself. Just as the Rinnegan has the ability to call up the husk of the Ten Tails in the form of the Gedo statue, and also possesses the ability to control said husk, Ashura incarnates possess the ability to utilize the powers of the Ten Tails, becoming to the Ten Tails similar to the Gold and Silver Brothers did to the Nine Tails. How did the Gold and Silver Brothers take the Nine Tails' powers? Well, we have no real explanation to that other than that they were distantly related to the Sage of Six Paths, whose treasure tools the brothers possess. But that might be reason enough. The answer to all of this boils down to the spirit and genetics of Hashirama Senju. Unlike Naruto, who was only distantly related to Ashura through the Uzumaki clan, Hashirama is directly related to Ashura through the passing down of clan leadership from Ashura down the line to Butsuma, who then passed it to Hashirama. Not only did Hashirama possess incredibly pure Senju blood due to alienation of other clans during that time, but he also possessed the spirit of Ashura. All of these things together likely awakened Hashirama as a sort of pseudo-Ten Tails Jinchuriki. It's not like such a thing is impossible. Kekkei Genkai are directly tied to bloodline, and wood release is a Kekkei Genkai. But not only that, the tailed beast chakra is theoretically known to be based from parent to child, and is believed to be the case with Naruto and Himawari. So imagining that the Ten Tails chakra itself was passed down to Ashura himself, though he never housed the Ten Tails inside of him, it could have become an integral part to Ashura, same as Six Paths chakra itself. The fact that Six Paths chakra, outside of the Ten Tails and outside of a direct gift from Hagoromo, cannot be achieved unless the chakra from Indra and Ashura incarnations mix, should be all the proof in the world. If Six Paths chakra is the same as Ten Tails chakra, and if Hashirama already has half of that chakra, and a direct genetic bloodline to Ashura who inherited not the eyes but the spirit of his father, that should be enough to tell us what Hashirama Senju was. He was a once-in-a-lifetime shinobi who inherited the genetics of Ashura and the Sage of Six Paths so perfectly that it was inevitable that his power would awaken to the next to possess Ashura's chakra. And its disappearance is equally explainable. If Naruto had been the son of Tsunade, there's no doubt that he too would have had wood release. But because he's only distantly Senju, this means he's mixed with a lot of other things, and the chances of him awakening such a Kekkei Genkai was lowered to the point that it's now virtually impossible without him getting some of Hashirama Senju's cells. So in conclusion, Hashirama is not the Ten Tails, but he also kinda is. That's why he is the way that he is. But how was he killed? That's another question I can't solve. Maybe he died of the chakra disease, or maybe when Madara fused his cloned body to the Ten Tails decided to reabsorb what was once its own, and ended up siphoning Hashirama to death. No clue, just dead. The only answer we got, he dead. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, I don't know. Maybe Boruto will explain that to us at some point in the future. I'd love to know how Hashirama died. Considering everything he did, how anyone could kill him is beyond me. Had to be natural circumstances. But anyway, leave a comment down below to let us know what you thought. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and anything else that makes us here at the channel feel warm and fuzzy inside. Check out these other videos as well. I'm sure they won't disappoint. Until next time, peace out.